Hello guys and welcome to my tutorial video for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now this video is aimed at people who don't know what Final Fantasy is, okay? So it's to give you a basic introduction, why the announcement for Final Fantasy VII Remake was such a big deal, and so on. And I know that as well there would be a lot of people who might think that this is coming really late, but the reason I'm making it now is because we're only about 3.5 months away from the release of this game. So I thought I would leave it to when it is soon released rather than years of waiting. So basically, Final Fantasy is a series that's been going for a very long time. It's been going since the original NES in the 80s, I think. Like it's been going for a very, very long time. Now, each entry into the Final Fantasy series is a unique story. So Final Fantasy 1 is different to Final Fantasy 2 is different to 3 and so on and so on and so on and so on. And but any Final Fantasy which has had a direct sequel have naming that shows that. So for example, there was 13. There was 13-2. There's Lightning Returns, which is also part of the 13 universe. So if a direct Final Fantasy has got a sequel, then it is numbered so. And also, as well, Final Fantasy VII is one of the biggest in the entire franchise because there's not just Final Fantasy VII. There was a movie called Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. There was a prequel on PSP, which was called Crisis Core. There was a bunch of other spin-off games like Dirge of Cerberus, based around some of the characters in the game, and so on. Now, basically, the reason why this is such a big deal for a lot of people is because it was one of the critically most like well-performing games on PlayStation 1. Like the only game on PlayStation 1 which actually did better than Final Fantasy 7, I believe, was Gran Turismo. So Final Fantasy 7 has been made infamous for that reason. But it came out more than 20 years ago. I believe it came out in 1997. So the reason why people have been crazy about Final Fantasy VII Remake is not just because, as you can see, it looks fantastic and so on. It's also because we grew up with this. You know what I mean? It's like this is our life in terms of gaming. Like I was 12 years old when this came out, when Final Fantasy VII came out, and I'm about to hit 35. So being able to revisit Final Fantasy VII is going to be a massive deal. Now, of course, back then, basically, games, because they were a lot smaller and the graphics were less demanding, they could make the story insanely long. And the original game as well was spread over multiple discs as well because it was so huge. But as they're now rendering it, as you can see, in like Super HD quality with voice acting and so on, there's no way that they could do the entire game of Final Fantasy VII in one go because it would be like 6 or 7 Blu-rays long. So what they're instead going to do is they're going to spread Final Fantasy VII Remake over, I believe, 3 different games. Now, the basic idea of the game is that you have a corporation called Shinra. And Shinra is basically burning fuel. They're burning the life force of the planet in order to generate electricity, to generate power, and so on. But some people are not happy with that, and some people have taken upon themselves to do something about it. So you have a rebel group called Avalanche, who Barrett is a part of, who Tifa is a part of, and they enlist the help of Cloud, who you can see on the screen now with the big sword. Now, they are fighting against Shinra because they are, like I said, they're not happy with what Shinra is doing. Now, I'm not going to give you an entire synopsis of the entire story, but that's basically how it starts. And what happens generally in the game in Final Fantasy VII is that you start out, you spend the first few hours in Midgar, which is a city, as you can see on your screen right now. And Midgar is where Shinra is primarily based. But they do their best to basically disrupt Shinra's plans and Shinra's like ability to work. But then once they've done their devastation, they've done their attack and so on, they then leave Midgard for most of the rest of the game. They do return later on, but most of the rest of the game, they go around the world. They do other things, which I said I won't get into. So the first game in Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to be just the Midgard section. Just a section of attacking in Midgard, doing a bunch of stuff, meeting different characters, and then eventually leaving. We don't know how far into the story we're going to see, because obviously it's still early days, but I believe that's the general plan. Then the next two games will cover different sections going forward. Now, the good thing with Final Fantasy, because they are separate games, like I said in the series, they are completely separate. You can get into Final Fantasy VII without having played the rest. So if the question comes up, do I have to have played the other Final Fantasies to play this one? The answer is no, you don't. Simple as that. It's nice to have some knowledge of the characters, but it's just not needed. And one thing they said as well is that this game will not, Final Fantasy VII Remake, will not be completely like 100% tied with the original Final Fantasy VII. There are going to be some changes. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of people who will get into that later on. Now, what actually happened with this, with Final Fantasy VII, is that people were begging for a remake for years and years and years and years and years. Because, like I said, it came out more than 20 years ago. And what they did was they actually announced in E3, I believe, 2014. They announced that they are remastering the game. So people thought the remake was coming, and they were really, really excited. But then they realized it was just an HD remaster on PlayStation 4 of the original PlayStation 1 game. And they were not happy about that. But then the year after, in E3 2015, then there was the big reveal that, in fact, they are working on Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is what you can see on your screen right now. And like I said, because of the history of this game, it really, really pushed boundaries 20 plus years ago. And it has lived on in people's hearts ever since. It has lived on in people's hearts for more than 20 years. Like I said, I personally grew up with this, as did millions of other people. That's why a lot of the commercials and a lot of the basis around the game are the idea of, when I was a kid, I used to blah. You know, that's the reason behind that style of the advertising. So I would highly recommend to check out Final Fantasy VII Remake when it comes out. If you like it, then be sure to go back and play the original Final Fantasy VII. It's on, you can get it on PlayStation 1 or Steam. You can get it in a million different places. Now, all I will say as well is, there are a lot of people who are really, really dedicated to this game, especially other YouTubers. So, for example, some of the YouTubers I watch, like Maximilian Dude, he does daily fighting videos, but he has said basically that Final Fantasy VII is his favorite game of all time. So he's crazy enthused about it. Please check him out. Also, as well, there's another YouTuber who makes nearly daily videos about Final Fantasy VII Remake called The Night Sky Prince. I can't recommend him enough. I watch him nearly every single time he uploads a video, so I will link them in the description of the video. So yeah, so I'm not going to be making a bunch of these videos. Simply, I think this is more than enough, and we'll revisit this game when it comes out fully on the 3rd of March 2020. So soon, in about just under 3 months from now. So yeah. So anyway, guys, I really just wanted to emphasize this game. You know, that's the reason I'm making this video. It's like, please check it out. I'm sure you will really, really like it. And I hope I've given you at least some hints. You know, I didn't want to go. I'm not going to do like a full story breakdown of Final Fantasy VII. There's plenty of YouTube videos that explain all that. There's speedrunners. There's 20 years of history behind this game. I just wanted to explain my point of view and give you a basic introduction into the game and so on. And again, it's just a question of simply, have you heard of this game? Have you always wondered about this game? I hope that my video is able to give you your first foot in the door. Essentially, that's all I'm trying to achieve with this video. So yeah, so as I said before, guys, please check out Maximilian Dude and Night Sky Prince and plethora of other YouTubers who have made content about this game. And please look forward to it. That's it, which is a famous Square Enix saying at this point. So anyway, guys, if you like that video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. You can watch a random video over there. You can watch the latest upload down there, or you can click down here to subscribe. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.